Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Life with Alex. And have you subscribed to my channel? In case you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button.
Ding,
Also,
ding.
turn on your notification bell. You get to be notified each and every time I have a new video up on YouTube.
You seem happy today.
Oh my goodness, Isa.
Yeah.
Okay, let me take this opportunity to welcome my guest. Na nimpe chance, like get to introduce yourself. So
Okay,
the
as she
floor is
mentioned, Isa. Isa is my name. It's full Isaiah Lohutsa. What am I? I'm an interior designer by profession, by practice, and I'd say at the moment I'm an interior design contractor. I'm a father, a husband, yeah, and
a very good friend to Alex.
oh, that's an additional an additional thing. But yeah, I'm a car enthusiast and I'm a passionate Mercedes-Benz driver.
Hey, hallelujah.
Like,
So for those of us who watch my videos and you haven't like subscribed, tafadhali wambie wa subscribe. You know, like
subscribe.
we're trying to build this
Notification,
community.
ding, ding, ding. Yeah, so every time we're seated doing one of these episodes, mtatuona na msikie vitu mzuri.
I
Will
know.
inspire you. And even if it's not me, she has very, very nice content. Yeah, you can always follow her.
Thank you.
Like I do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For being one of my biggest supporters here. I'm so sure you guys have seen him before on my
And
channel.
let's support us.
You've seen him on my channel. Thank you, Sana, and for honoring my invite yet another time.
Any
I don't-
day,
I don't take-
anytime.
I don't take it for granted.
Pleasure.
So, and today we will be talking about vulnerability in men and why does men find it so hard for them to be vulnerable, you know? So, and I'll start by asking you, when was the last time, like maybe Isa? No, what would you say like vulnerability is? What does it mean to be vulnerable?
Like you can also go through something, like you can be hurt, you can have things that kill you inside, like just like a human being. I believe everybody is vulnerable. It's just how you express your vulnerability is where the difference is. But yeah, I can say I'm vulnerable. I'm also vulnerable. I'm human. I have feelings.
You have feelings.
Yeah, I have the soft parts. Yeah.
Second question is, do you remember the last time that maybe you cried, shed a tear, and what was it about?
Shedding a tear, I think there's this time I was talking to my daughter. I have a daughter from 3. And there's something I was telling her, and I realized it's the first time I ever thought about it and felt that, yeah, I would say vulnerable. I cried in front of my girl.
Wow.
And I was telling her, and it's something that I think still makes me feel that way. My dad pushed me so hard to work hard, and I always took it positive because my dad was unajua ile mabuda kwa soldier, so vitu zilikuwa in a disciplined way. So growing up, my dad wanted me to be successful because he was, by his space, he was successful. He led so many things, and he was a name. People would call me after him. He was a coach. One of the things that he was successful in. So they used to call me mtoto wa coaches. So my dad pushed me so hard, and I would say whatever course I'm studying today is something that was inspired by my dad. He wanted me to be an architect. I did architecture diploma.
Yeah.
Then at some point he wanted me to be in campus. During that phase when kids are out of school, he never wanted me to be idle. So I went to Kenya Polytechnic. Then I did architecture diploma, but I stopped it at some point because I had to go to campus and study interior design.
Yeah.
Something related, because those are the things he felt proud. He was telling me, do a course that will propel you to greater heights, and there's no limit. Like there's no retirement part. Like you can work till your death.
Yeah.
Because of the passion you have. Yeah, and I was talking to my daughter and I told her I would have really wanted my dad to see the success behind the effort he put in me. And of course, he was a driving force to where I am. Unfortunately, he passed on just when I finished campus. So
Yeah.
I think maybe my mom celebrated part of my success because she also passed on.
Yeah.
But I was explaining to my daughter that God has enabled me to be alive, to have the funds to be able to educate her, and I would want her to make me successful the way my dad was. So I was telling her in regards to school, like if she's a better person, I will also take the credit. Despite being the person doing the nini, I'll take credit. And that's one thing I'd long to see,
You'll
because
feel proud as a dad.
I want to feel now what my dad would have felt.
Yeah.
So at that point when I was telling her, is when it hit my mind that, yeah, clearly, I don't think my dad saw me in this moment of, I would say,
You
success.
being successful.
Yeah. I'm still not yet there, but where I am, I believe he would have been proud, and I'm sure they would also be pushing it. So at that point when I was talking to my daughter, I think I realized then I miss my dad, because I don't think we had enough time to mourn my dad. I was just fresh from campus. So I think I've been vulnerable, because after that, then I didn't have anybody to confide with, like a man. I never had a father figure, because my dad was my only father figure. His brothers were not as close, and maybe my uncle, who was from my maternal side. So there was nobody to ask these things. So I think being vulnerable, I didn't go to the lowest point of vulnerability, because there's a big mantle left by my dad. Because at the time my dad was passing on, my mom had been sick for how many years? My mom was sick in 1998, and she was sick up to 2020. So all these years, my mom was not in her right state the way she was when growing up. So at that point, I had a sick mom, I had siblings who were still in school. I don't think I had the option of being vulnerable. I needed to pick up pieces.
Like you had to toughen up and be the
man
up,
toughen up, and also be that example that I wanted my siblings to be.
No.
So yes, I was, but I don't think the vulnerability, I had a chance to feel extremely vulnerable, because now also the responsibilities that were there immediately when I thought,
you had to step in for your dad and
not even step up, because you see,
yeah.
now I was young, and then at that point is when the responsibility were becoming now bigger, because now all my siblings were in high school. My sister was in campus. My mom needed meds like every other month. Not every other, actually every month meds were what? I think 15,000. I just finished campus. I don't have a job. I need to get a job. I need to pay rent. There were so many things that were there. I pay school fees and all that. So I needed to man up. And the vulnerability, I would say probably later in the years, yeah, I did.
So in regards to, I like the fact that you brought up about like your life story kidogo and how vulnerability have been with you. So I'll ask you a couple of questions and you'll let me know how you think and feel about men opening up. And first question is, why do you think it's so hard for men to open up?
Okay, that's an easy and a tough question. Based on my past, like I said, I didn't have now that vulnerability. When I was losing my dad, what was in my mind was what happens next, the responsibilities, how am I going to handle what I have. So I didn't have a chance to be vulnerable. But yeah, over the time, I noticed that yes, as much as I manned up and all that, I got to a point where my siblings were out of the way, and my responsibilities became less now, married man and all that. Yeah, and at times I would go through things, and just the fact that I would tell my wife, and the way she came into my life, knowing that I'm a tough guy, atanichukuliaje, how would she feel about me? So yeah, but those days I would sit in that corner, and it's easy for men to get vulnerable, but I think the upbringing of boys to become men, and especially through the institution, the cultural, how the society perceives us, men are not supposed to get to that point of being vulnerable, or the other mechanism men should go through before getting to that point. And I think some of the systems, if at all you're like a free spirit like me, you would probably be able to solve some of these issues before you get to that point. But yeah, some of them, your peers might not be able to help you, the friends around you, because there might be like marital problems which you might not want to share outside there. I don't think somebody can say come and tell you like miss you pata watoto, they would rather die with that thought, and probably I don't know. So
it's rather maybe spoken in like a third party who like they don't know, and they won't judge them.
And also ask in terms of vulnerability, what would you have in mind, because vulnerability is also wide.
So in terms of
I'm not financially stable, I'm not able to talk to men that maybe your peers are way above you. You don't even want to show up where they are, because maybe they might ask you when you want just to live with your nini. So your vulnerability would be wide.
Yeah, in terms of, in this case, we will be talking about in terms of, like, for example, your day to day, your day to day ongoing. For example, you have like a stress at work. Is it easy for you to go to talk to your friend? Is it for you to go to talk to your spouse? Is it easy for you maybe to walk into like a room and say, like, I want to see a therapist? Like, what makes it so hard for guys to seek even like that help? I'm not okay. I'd rather keep this thing to myself. I'm not financially okay right now, but I won't be comfortable to go tell maybe my wife. Maybe I wanna, like, quote unquote, maybe I'm nagging.
Maybe,
Or
I would say, I think it depends on the magnitude of whatever is bothering you. Yeah. Some issues I believe I can talk it out with my wife. Some issues I would best address them with my friends. When it comes to seeking help now from a professional like a therapist, I think that's where the big challenge comes. I don't think most men would want to sit inside a therapist room to discuss such things. Or even, for me personally, I think in a lobby where I'm waiting to be the next person to be served to see.
You'd rather talk to a stranger.
I'd rather talk to a stranger about my
But
issues.
in this case, I tend to think a therapist is more like a third party who's a stranger who probably will never know about your lives after maybe that session.
No. I don't think I think I've attended. I've seen a therapist, but in a different issue, not about my vulnerability. I think I had some challenges in school, and the school actually recommended that I should see a therapist for some time.
Okay.
And it was a series of visits. It was not one visit. Yeah, and I could tell you for free, as much as I was young, I don't think I would want to be in the same situation seeing a therapist because I have issues. I believe
maybe, for example, you have like marital issues.
yeah,
or
marital issues. I would want to identify somebody who I see is a role model or somebody
Or
who's
a
successful in
mentor.
that area. Let's say if it's work issues, somebody who's been successful in my line of work. They might be not exactly in my line of work, but maybe I look upon them in that line. If it's marital issues, yeah, I would want to see a friend of mine whose
Like
marriage is okay.
and it's working.
And even if it's not a friend, somebody I know whose marriage is okay, I would want to sit down with them and ask, what do you do differently that I don't do? Because I don't feel like my marriage is okay. I believe that's the kind of help for me that would be easy. And those small ones, those ones for family, especially financial. My wife comes through whenever I think we are through that path. She's really been a pillar, especially on that. And especially after now, I left work and I decided now I'm working for myself.
Yeah.
Once in a while things do not go well, and she comes
understands.
in. She understands one, and she's able to hold her needs, especially if she knows we can make with so little for some time before we can get finances. Yeah. So some issues I would say it's easy to discuss. Some, especially with your close. With your wife, some you want people, especially strangers, and I'm sure even in a circle of friends, there are people who are not close to you, but there are things you see them doing and you think you can ask them for
help.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So second question would be, do you think there are enough spaces that have been provided like for men to be like vulnerable, and maybe do we have like enough, maybe like I understand like on 14 men goes for men conferences. Do you think we have enough spaces
men conference ni kutoroka tu the needs of women. You see, just let me highlight on that. On that one,
are there enough spaces where men come together and like they get to maybe to talk out maybe what's happening in their life?
That one I'll touch on that, but let me just, I think this 14th one, it's one thing I sit down and I really blame the society for what they've made this day feel like. I think if I don't love my wife every other day, I cannot love her more on the 14th.
Very true.
I think me exercising or showing her how much I love her
It's an everyday
is
thing.
a plus that even the 14th should not be a big deal.
Very true.
And back to mechanisms that are there. You see now, definitely there are psychologists who are out there, and there are so many that people can always reach out to. But I find men, unless pushed, they will not want to see these people. So one of the mechanisms that is there. And the fact that you probably go, especially if there are many people there that you would want to share experiences, and you imagine somebody else will probably laugh at your issue because they imagine it's little yes to them, but to you it's a big deal. Most men would want to avoid, especially those formal setups, and even the private ones where they would see the psychologist alone. I think still men, like personally, like I've said my experience before, I wouldn't want to sit now remembering the questions I was being asked, and I was young. Now I'm trying to imagine in this age somebody asking me some questions like that, I'll probably react differently, and I'll not probably get the right help. But over time, I've learned about churches trying to do this for men, and I would want to congratulate All Saints Cathedral with this Man Enough. Is it a conference or a forum where men go sit and they will discuss the issues there. Yeah. I've not yet attended one, but I think I know one or two people who've attended. Yeah, and they've come out there strongly. Then counselors, I think counselors and psychologists, probably the same thing. I've had a friend who's gone for
But is it something that guys are embracing, or sometimes, as you said, like they have to be pushed?
Yeah, this one for my friend seeing a counselor is something that he was pushed from work because maybe his productivity was different, so maybe his behaviors were not okay. But he went through the session. It was about 90 days, and he came out better. I don't know whether to speak for him here, but the way I see, I think he's way better. Maybe
you, as a friend, you can.
As a friend, I can say it, but on his end, I don't know. But the way I see him before and now, I think he's in a better space. But and I believe again, since he was pushed, maybe the results were expected somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe he's the way he is. But yeah, I wouldn't say I know so many platforms other than the usual platform where all men converge, which is the bar.
That is where you go to.
Yeah, you sit
down
at the
counter
and you look at this barman or bar lady, they are serving you, and just create some story, and I think you get some relief for a duration, but you really don't sort it, because you still go back with your issue.
It's not like women where we go like maybe to chamas, or we go to the salon and we're like, hey, you know what, last night this is what happened. Maybe I'm in a relationship, my boyfriend. Men, I think women easily open up, and we're always looking forward to maybe to meeting our friends. Hey. And we don't keep things to ourselves. We are very quick to tell, like maybe for example, if you have like a close friend, my guy is doing this for me, what do you think? And they ask for their opinion. But guys, I tend to think they are a bit reserved in a sense,
because now if you bring up the issue of chamas, like I'll say for men meeting for chamas, the vulnerability becomes more, because for men it's always about muscle. What am I capable of doing? So you'd find
it's more about the masculinity.
Somebody showing the way they've made it in the society. They would want you to invest in, let's say, property in Lavington, but you clearly know your pockets are not Lavington material. They're Kitengela.
But these, looking both ways, they are both property. It's just that
yes,
one
but
place
you see now,
is a prime place.
Since I want to fit in my peers, the group of my peers, my pocket might not be speaking the same thing as my peers. You understand? I'd end up being more vulnerable, because I'd rather run away from these friends and create a new friendship with other people where I feel the Kitengela pocket is fixed than the Lavington pocket.
So does that make you feel a bit of inferior as a man?
Yes, now that is also vulnerability, I would say. So,
really?
So yeah, that's the other thing with men. And you see now why most of them will meet in the bar. I think this terminology by Tusker, when they're doing their branding, I mean, I'm not supposed to be promoting a brand, but makes us equal, has no equal, made some kind of sense. Yeah. But at that point, once you get at that tipsy or continuous, there's some stories that you'll probably share and agree, as long as you're in that state of mind.
Because the judgment is not...
The judgment is limited. Yeah. It's at the poorest at that point. So you don't feel vulnerable, and that's why most men will run to the bar. Or I see some going to the church. I don't have peers, my friends who tell
I think when it comes to the church, they sort of get to judge you. Like maybe sometimes they are not maybe as... unajua mtu mlevi atakuaccept as you are as you come. Sometimes with Christianity naonanga, ama with churches, sometimes they are like a bit skeptical, sijui you did this, so wanakuangalia tu na that side eye zile za...
Okay, I wouldn't say much. The church I go to, I would say, if I got into a situation whereby I needed help, if I went, I'd probably get the help that I need. I believe so. I think my research about churches landed me in a good church.
In a good church.
And there's also a pastor I follow. It's called Pastor Tony Kiama, ROG. Listening to this guy, in fact, today I was listening to something he said, and he told me he found love in church his parents did not like him because of his behavior, but he found love in church. And when he found love in church, he cried, and that made him realize that love is in the church, and he will not leave the church as long as he's there. He knows he'll be loved. And so he's a pastor. Then he was a drug. You can go follow his story somewhere. It's something that made so vulnerability. You see now like that. So when I listened to the conversation, he said there was something he was missing, and I think that love made him drink, made him go to other levels of things that the society will not agree. That the father did not like him and the mother did not like him. But when his friends, his peers, took him to the church, and I think it was the first time the pastor that received him. When you listen to that story, it's so nice. And him hug, and he hugged him for a long time. He says 15 minutes. And in the process, the pastor was crying because he was asking God to save him. And then him in the process, alikuwa tu hapo zile njaro za hako tu, but along the way I realized, yeah, actually, this guy actually.
Like, when was the last time you had somebody who? When was the last time like a guy hugged you?
My friend, up.
That is where you draw the line. No, you can tell us.
Okay, those manly hugs, you know, the middle ya kando ya shoulder, yes.
But that one, like, when you feel like somebody's like holding you and like this person like genuinely cares about you as a guy.
No, I don't think I've gotten a hug like this from a man.
It's been a minute.
Hey, my friend, that was sifikiri.
Unless maybe from maybe like your wife and all that. No, not maybe from a guy.
No, from a guy, my children, my sons.
No, your sons.
Hugs now from my daughters, my wife.
Yeah.
I mean, it's common.
Yeah.
That one is common. But man to man, I see Danny. Like,
Ujiboni.
yeah, like things like when somebody tells you I love you, unajua unaweza tapotea akili. I think our society now has become so bad. Some words are genuine, like.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So I hope I did not digress.
No. It's okay. Okay. On the third question is, do you think women have done a good job, like in sensing when you guys like you're off your energy? Sometimes, like maybe when you have stress, do we create that environment whereby?
Even before you finish the question, I would say that one, the society, or rather the ladies have not done a good job. I won't speak on my part, but I think in the recent past you've heard about men committing suicide, men shooting their wives, killing their kids and all that.
Yeah.
Like things men do not expect. Like, let me give a recent case. Like, some guy went to do DNA for the kids and realized out of I think the 4 kids ako now, hakuna mwenye ni wake, you know.
Oh my goodness.
Huyu mtu, yani the only thing anaona ni wasted years. Na the only thing alifikiria ni kumaliza wife na hao watoto pamoja. But you see now, if the mechanisms around were good to deal with such cases, or even the women themselves, what would lead a woman to do something like that? Let's leave
that's very malicious.
But now imagine this man if he got proper counseling. You know, at the end of the day, as long as I've raised these kids, I believe they're my kids.
Yeah, my kids, like, yeah.
Yeah, put on all the money and the resources, the love and all that. Our total, let's say even if they were told that I'm not their father, I think there's a level of respect they'll have for me, having stepped into the shoes of somebody who's not there for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I wouldn't say women have done...
We're not so good at sensing, like,
yes,
for example,
no,
when your person is going through something, do we create like that environment where...
No. No.
So we are very quick to judge, and we want you guys like maybe to man up, and you know what? In this case, you're not supposed to be like a
Kweli, I would agree with that. Like, yeah, I think the mentality the women in society have about women, I think they've put us at a place where ni kama
haufai kulia,
haufai kubondeka, and
haufai kufeel uko down.
And I think that's why most people you find them at the bar, as in I think sisi ni millennials. Sisi ni millennials. When is Gen Z? Millennials wengi utapata kwa bar, and I think they go through much. You see, you would want to just do a study, walk into a bar, not a common bar. Common bars, mostly people go there to have fun. Yeah. The bars around you, near the homes, those are the bars where you can just sit somewhere and look at how the frequency of the people who walk in. You see more men than women who walk into the club.
Yeah, very true. Very,
and those men are not coming to drink on a weekday. They're probably coming to do business deals.
Yeah.
Quote unquote, yeah. Because you can always do the business deal at Java and other places. But that's where they find peace, and they think maybe confidence even at times to give the proposal. So I would say, yeah. So since women have not been able to give us that platform, like you go to the house and you're having this bad day and things are not working for you, and their demands bado ziko juu, unakuja ukimwambia vile vitu hazijakuwa poa, then atakwambia lakini unajua tagasa hakuna. Unajua? And I'm sure there's a jiko pale anaweza pika nayo kwambia hey, chakula ndio hii nini, ulale vizuri na kesho asubuhi kwambia nilikuwa nimeona ni kama gas itaisha. I think how they would talk to us to be able to feel to scare vulnerable. I mean, like even if we're vulnerable, you're able to talk it out to them. The platform is not there. I think most people, I would say 90%, or rather, let me just give you a benefit of doubt. 75 to 90% hapo wanawake.
You're not doing a good job. Like sometimes when you tell me you're not.
Yeah, and I think for me, maybe mine is different. I would talk, like I said, my wife has also been a pillar in my life, and especially she's able to read, but it's not like at everything damwambia. I get vulnerable. There are things I'd want to nisort huko nje. Like I would be in debt, and I'm in debt because somebody has put me in debt by not paying my nini. Kuna zile pesa kubwa hata nikikaa nikimwambia naona ile huruma atanifanya hata nikuwe worse. Saa zingine ataniambia labda it's the way you do business, vitu kama hizo, and maybe the way I do it is the best way I've done it over the years.
They don't want to understand where you're coming from. They want to judge things as wenye wao wanaona.
I would say that. So yeah, so for women, let's just put it aside. I think most men find their peers or some people older than them being the best parts to take their vulnerability or discuss their vulnerability with.
But also this trickles down to the fact that how do you want to be shown, like maybe you are supported? Is it something that you speak out? This is how I feel appreciated. Is it something like maybe you could communicate and maybe somebody could work on it? It's a standard thing that, you know, women we are.
I would say number one, for somebody to open up, they need to be
in a safe space.
Safe space, and
not
I would say
judged.
a listening ear.
Yeah.
A listening ear in the sense that you would listen to me and not maybe concur.
And not give solutions, not
concur. Yeah, just listen to me. Even if you don't want to concur, you might have the solutions.
Yeah.
I'd rather you tell me, let me go think about it, and I'll tell you what I think. Let me not answer you right now. It's like a premeditated kind of answer. I think that would make me feel differently. And you see now why men would go to the bar. When you call a friend for a drink or two, you might discuss the issues, and trust me, by the time you're leaving the bar,
you feel much more better.
You'll feel much more better. As much as the issues are not sorted, when you go, the relief or the thoughts that he gave you, they might not all make sense, because you probably meet 2-3 friends, they all have different thoughts on how they'll do it. Yeah. But eventually you feel like you've offloaded something from you.
Like 20%, 30%, like you have offloaded.
Then again, you know what I would say? You see how men are brought up. The society vile inachukulia kama wanaume hatufai kufika hiyo point. And I think modernity, technology has come with different ways of how men should behave. Like from my community, it is believed that the man is the head of the house. Na yeye ndio kila kitu kusema. In the current society, I think women have a voice, as they put it. And I wouldn't want to handle issues maybe the colloquial way, because my kids are also coming in a different generation whereby things will also be different. So try and embrace what is there at this time that you're able to, you understand? So that society mentality that was there, some of us bado tuko kwa hiyo, like the initiation process, when you become a man, we still have that, because that is what we're impacted by our parents. But then again, you realize now, like if my pops passed on in 2008, how many years are those?
It's been almost
16 years. So 16 years, vitu zimebadilika. Hata I'm sure hata yangekuwa, you'd be surprised. Maybe those days mobile phone ilikuwa tu inaanza kukua. So the things that mobile phones can do, AI and all that, I think you'd also accept that things have changed, and that we have different ways of how to handle matters. Then back in the day, the society was how we were being told as men. When you're growing up, they would want you to marry from the community. Mtoto wa nani. Now
you even looked for a wife.
Yeah, so you see now, like now, me, I would say our paps embraced cosmopolitan societies, whereby he was not keen on us getting married from our community, because alifikiria pia growth itabaki bado hapo. So yeah, I'm glad we went diversified that way. So I think from where, let's say, my wife comes from and where me I come from,
They're totally two
the
different.
societies that we have to make, we have to put together.
Yeah.
So the man stereotype from my community might not work because maybe it's not the man stereotype from the community.
Yeah.
So we just come with the knowledge we have about marriage and all that.
Different,
Yeah. So now that's vulnerability now would come, because now you'd find it's different from the way my dad and my mom, because he came from the same community, behaved. When you went through challenges, he'd go. In fact, he was a
You
soccer
have
player,
something
so
like
then
to
that's
look-
the ball look
yeah.
from football he'll come back, and yeah, they were happy. So maybe there were solutions there, I don't know.
Yeah.
But nowadays, and especially now, our generation, mali watu wengi hata wako in sports, gym, watu
Oh,
involved.
yeah. People
Go
are
to-
not really taking care of
Yeah,
like
so
the
I think
mental, physical.
Women would take a different approach that would also help men now not to get to those points of vulnerability. I think the more you speak out, I don't think you get to a point where you feel like you're vulnerable, because mambo yako iko wazi. And,
Everybody gets to know.
yes, so you don't get to that point unasikia umefinyika, because you always share about what you're going through.
It leads me to the next question is, do you think family upbringing and confidence, do you think like they contribute to how comfortable you get to be like vulnerable or maybe open up?
Of course.
How has society maybe contributed to
No,
how
that-
like
just
maybe,
like we said,
Yeah.
where I come from, the village, people from there expect me to carry myself in a certain way.
in a certain way.
Yeah, like yani usiende kuambia bibi yako mambo yako. Go to your uncles, go to your older cousins, go to people who go to other men and discuss that. So yeah, so
Just-
mwanamke ni mtu, okay, I even hate the word mwanamke, like the girl child, si mtu wa kuambia vitu zako kama mwanaume. Kaa ngumu, like kaa ngumu kama gumu. You had that
Yeah,
statement. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
So
yes.
society definitely contributes, because now for those, especially now as the millennials, sisi ni kama wa mwisho, where we still have those traditions.
There
kufuatilia.
is an exit between the like the older generation to the new generation.
Yes,
This is the
because
last thing
now
to
as we had part of what our parents grew up with,
Yeah.
like after initiation kuna vitu hufai kufanya, like we even told during that process hufai sijui kufanya nini na mwanamke, you know, they put that in our minds na zikakaa. But now when this technology na hii generations zinaweza
Gen
kubadilika,
Z.
mambo inakuwa ngumu, we have to adjust. And also
Yeah, and to the last question I would ask, do you think guys like they are in tuned to their feelings? Because sometimes I know women are emotional thinkers as compared to men are logical thinkers, but do you think sometimes men are in tune to their feelings? You know, is it something that you would be comfortable? Or could you air out your views, you know what, today this is what I'm feeling? You know, maybe tomorrow ama a day after tomorrow you're like, I think my views zime change, this is what like I'm feeling. Is it something like you're very open and you're in tune to what you're feeling right now? Maybe you're angry ama you're mad, and guys always in tune to their feelings, but I tend to think guys kidogo.
I would speak on my part.
Yeah.
My friend. I think the things that I would not carry to the house, especially anger, number one, because I know
There are kids.
the kids involved and all that, and I
Yeah.
think when the mood changes, it's the entire family that is affected.
Very true.
Just, I mean, feelings aside, I know some men would get to that point, and percentage-wise, maybe 25% would actually bring their feelings out better than that majority. Most would want to live with that mentality, meaning you know. Yeah. Then that change of you come to the house, say this, then tomorrow you say you've changed your nini. I think if it's a married man, you believe your wife will see like you're indecisive. Okay, you're not being manly. I'm sure feelings change. Your state of mind. Unaweza ambiliwa kitu huko usikie na ikuingie kwa akili. Maybe you judge even your people. Then kesho yake ukikaa you realize, man, I think that's their way of doing things and not my way of doing things. And maybe I just mentioned it to my person in as a and I want to revert to what tunafanga tukua kawaida, and they're like, no, now I've subscribed to what you told me recently. You know, yeah. So yeah,
It's
a good percentage, not 50, 75% of the men, they would want things to be as the way their feelings aside, they will not come and and air so much that they have.
Oh, okay.
So circumstances will remain almost vile tu kuna kuanga daily. Yeah.
Like a constant way, don't even come, the day my day was like this, nini, everything is in order.
Yeah, like if I share with my wife how my day was, that will be probably our routine every other day. If I don't share with her, inabaking hivyo, because that change already brings so much questions at the back of the mind, I believe, of our spouses. Like, hey,
what happened during the day? Did you like
Bona
have a
na
big
share,
day?
Bona nini, you know. Yeah. The things off camera, I would say. Lakini,
You don't want
I've
to
gotten to that vulnerable point. I think one point in Kangana, na my wife nikamwambia kitu, I think alishangaa. Like, she didn't expect that from me. But I was surprised with how she reacted. I was like, okay. And I think alinifeel for that time. Though in the process ya kunifeel nilishtuka nikasema kai. Naweza mwambia kitu kai kweli next time. Nikasema I think at that point I was even surprised. I expected a bad reaction, but from the way she embraced that problem, nilifurahi sana. Nilifurahi sana. Yeah.
Sometimes I think
but then sasa na uoga sasa, how will she, because issues are different. Na hii nikimwambia itakuwaje? So
yeah, but I tend to think guys get to appreciate the fact that maybe sometimes when you air out something and like you listen to them, like you just like, yeah, I feel you. Don't give comments, don't give like a solution in like when they want to vent to you, like just listen, you know. Sometimes I think guys want to be heard, of which it's always the other way around. We women, we expect like for the guys to listen to us, and we are hard. I can say like guys are so good.
If a guy wants to listen, they call them a shoulder to lean on. Most of this relationship, unajua atazikuanza atijue nini, ni shoulder to lean on.
Oh yeah.
Where a man was there for you and listened to you and gave you solutions.
Yeah.
Actually, the opposite is very, very difficult.
Yes.
Come to think of it.
Yes. I see like when you give like a guy a space whereby he's able to come and talk to you and you listen to them. Don't give solutions, don't need. Don't think, so let's sleep over it, we will talk some other time. I think ana feeling, oh, by the way you listen. Alafu maybe ufanya something thoughtful yenye ina make afikiria like in that direction. I think that's
see, I'm telling you that incident, I laughed with my friends. Nilikaa kumbe nikamwambia lakini bro ni wazimu. Nikamwambia nilisema niyo ndio feedback.
Oh, anyway, that has been interesting. I think tell us on the comment section, what do you think about, I'm so sure there are so many guys who have subscribed to my channel. What do you think about guys opening up, and what are some of the challenges that you guys feel like it's so hard for you guys to like to open up? What are some of the challenges? So Issa, thank you for
I think I will not even talk about challenges. For parting shot, what I'll say, find that safe space. I'm sure you know your circle.
Yes.
And it will be very, very, very good if the person that you're with, if you're a married person, if your spouse would be able to give you that listening, that safe space, basically listening ear and a shoulder to lean on.
Yeah.
That you can be able just to air your frustrations or whatever is making you feel like you're vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because then again, you know that's an issue spoken is an issue solved.
Yeah.
Now, especially if you're telling it to somebody you know, you can trust with that word. Haitatoka nje ya nyumba. It's better. It's even when sharing our vulnerability with our friends we have friends who niwambea like I'll come and tell like Stella, hey, what's up maze, hey, mtaani jo tulikuwa tukilala na ile moja maze, vitu zimekuwa mbaya. Then you'd hear this story with some of the other friends, hey maze, msikia siku hizi Isa maze hata wakulangi kitu mtaani. Nani alikwambia? Ai, si nani? So yeah, just make it as close. Let it be somebody you're 100% sure will not make you feel extra vulnerable, because these issues of these suicidal issues, things we're hearing men do after they're not able to sort their issues. I think find somebody you're able to share with your issues, somebody who will be able to stand with you all the way. Yeah.
So yes, asante sana for coming through. We appreciate your presence here.
Make sure you like it.
So yeah, for those who haven't like subscribed to my channel, as we keep on saying, support this community. So, and always let me know on the comment section what you think about the conversations that we have here. So yeah,
And which conversations you'd want us to discuss?
Yeah, sure.
Not me, basically. I could be there actually.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Thank you for
some
being
of
one
the
of
things.
the real ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, until next time, guys. Bye
That's a wrap.
bye.